Now that we've made it this far, I'm going to take you for a trip up Lake Hill. At only 3,000 feet, it's one of the smallest mountains in the area. But there's an interesting reason for that. And the reason is that Lake Hill wasn't formed like any of the other mountains in this area. Unlike most of the other mountains like Panamint Butte, which were formed when the plates crashed together and folded over on themselves, Lake Hill was actually formed from magma which escaped from a fissure in the ground. As you can tell by these rocks here. As the magma escaped, it dried and formed right in the middle of this lake bed, which is probably why it's the only mountain in the middle of a lake bed for miles around. As you look at these rock formations on the side of Lake Hill, you can tell a little bit of the volcanic activity that occurred here thousands, if not millions of years ago. I actually thought about putting my camp up here tonight, but taking a look at this rock, I've decided against it. I think I'll just go down onto the desert floor. This is definitely one of those areas where you don't want to put your hands down. Always got to be on the lookout for snakes. Death Valley is home to the Mojave rattler, which is the most poisonous rattler on Earth. You get bit by a Mojave out here, and you're in serious trouble. One of the reasons why I went with a high hiking boot, not only to protect against ankle injuries, but also to protect against snake bites. Of course, it still doesn't go up high enough for my liking. I'm now at the top of Lake Hill, and unfortunately this video camera doesn't do the view justice. You can see for miles and miles in every direction across the dry lake floor. It's hot, the sun's really intense, but the view makes it all worthwhile. You can see the dry lake bed here. This lake bed is filled to a certain extent when they get the spring rains. They only get a few inches a year, very little rain, but in the springtime this lake bed fills up a little bit. And you can see some of the gullies and depressions that are formed when the water comes rushing through. And off in the distance between that hill and the other mountain, see if I can highlight it, is the Panamint Dunes, and that's my next stop. As you can see, just absolutely beautiful scenery in every direction.